Namaste. Welcome to this our second podcast for this Sunday late evening. So we are back with, as promised, a podcast on the Hindu Sangathan, and the podcast name itself it shows symbolic gestures to substantive power, a Hindu civilization question. So, all of us who are alive today, okay, we are at a precipice, as a juncture. Uh, when it comes to Hindu awakening, Hindu civilizational awakening, and Ram Mandir establishment, Ram Mandir consecration was a kind of a civilizational movement for the whole Hindu society in 1000 years. And we also know that in 2025, the RSS, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, became a 100-year organization. So it's a time for reflection. It's a time for a bit of critical analysis. What went well? What needs to be done? Are we faltering the way the Hindu civilization, the way the Hindu organizations, the way the common Hindu is perceiving the world around us? So we have with us today our regular guest, Munshi Shastri, to give his take on what's happening, and maybe we'll discuss a bit of problems in our consciousness, our organizations, individuals, what needs to be done, and where we are faltering. So, namaste, Mushiji.
Namaste, Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. We also have one more guest join us very soon. So till then, we will be working with, speaking with Munshi. So Munshi, correct. I have this book for the audience and also for you, correct. Shades of Saffron, 100 years of decoding, 100 years of Rasha Sevak Sangh. So like this year, 2025 is very evocative in so many aspects. We also had elections in 2024 where the BJP was reduced to 240 from 309. So a lot has happened over the last, maybe say 24 months or more than a year. And now we have seen the UGC fiasco happening in our campuses. A lot is happening. We have Bengal elections. We have elections in 2027 in UP, which is going to be a kind of, again, a very critical moment in the awakening of political, social, and of Hindu consciousness in general. So, what's your thought?
Let's start with the book, right? The RSS is typically a very closed organization. They usually do not let in any kind of researcher to come and research and talk about them, right? Um, I think Sachin Nanda is like one of the few privileged people who've had the ability to basically
May I
access.
interject? May I interject to you? Just sorry for the interjection. You mentioned RSS does not let lot of academics or writers, authors, journalists to talk to them or visit their archives. May I know why is this the case? Just for audience to get a perspective, why they do not let people?
I think it's not just a Sangh thing, to be honest. It's a
Mm-hmm.
broader Hindu society thing, right? Like we've always had academics like take us for a ride, right? So they'll come in, say that, hey, we're going to do some research. This is for academia, and they end up grossly misrepresenting what Hinduism or the Sangh is, right? So we've had this happen with matas before. Uh, we've had this happen with the Sangh before as well. So generally, the Sangh has always been sort of suspect for any kind of academician or researcher to come and basically like sit with them, observe, and write about them, right? Like the most Hindu organizations sort of feel aggrieved that their positions are not represented very well. Their positions are treated as illegitimate, despite them coming from the same framework as most academic, let's say, Orientalist academics um, sort of espouse, right? So there's always been that reluctance. Now, with that said, I think this Sachin Nanda is one of the more privileged people to have had access to the song, not only the song, but also their archives, and also especially the archives of Hector, right? I mean, he has written a book about him, so he must have had access to his letters, uh, what the speeches that he gave. These are all stuff that you will only find within RSS archives. There's one other academic who's had that level of success with the RSS, and that's Walter Anderson from Johns Hopkins University, actually.
Yes,
He's
yes.
written two books about the RSS. He's actually uh, he's a funny guy, right? I mean, his wife's Tamil, um, and uh, he does have some. He can when you talk to him, he does feel like okay, I sort of like a family member of the RSS, right? But he's still a very good academic nonetheless. So Sachin Nanda belongs in that club. Uh, I think this is sort of like a good thing, but I think the RSS needs to be more open about what its history is like, what it had suffered through, uh, and also the various positions within the RSS, right? I think that the RSS tends to be treated like a black box. The Parivar itself tends to be treated like a black box as well. And uh, that's not good for it, right? Like, I mean, if you're going, if you say that um, uh, you are going to take the Bharatiya civilization ahead and you represent the Bharatiya civilization ahead, you should be open enough for Bharatiyas themselves to basically look in and figure out what the heck is going on with you, right? So, or how you function. So I think this is a good trend. Um, but I also feel like they need to reach out to even more local uh, academics, maybe someone within their own fold, and also elevate them to write good biographies or good well-researched, well-sourced books on the sun.
Okay, understood. So now we're going to starting this conversation. So we have named this our podcast for today as symbolic gestures to substantive power, a Hindu civilizational question. So if you feel like this symbolic gesture to substantive power, what does it mean to you from your perspective as a Hindu?
I mean, I'm more of a actions-oriented person, right? If I wanted symbolism, I would go to a temple or watch some temple rituals. Right? That's symbolism over there is rich and much more contextual. But when it comes to, you know, politics and society, like you need to go beyond symbolism. You generally need to have more action on the ground, right? And more importantly, you need to be able to communicate the actions that you conduct on the ground, right? The Sung and its reluctance to have a cohesive communication strategy holds it back, right? People still think of the Sung as this boomer-led Luddite organization that doesn't think beyond its like uh, boomer-esque like indigenous framework, um, and that's a result of the Sung not communicating really well. Um, because it's like there's a mismatch between what people want and what the Sung perception and communications presents, right? So um, people want more active restoration or revival of the civilization, right? So it can be in the form of, say, temple restorations, right? So in rural India, there are plenty of buried temples, uh, temples that have been like made into trash dumps, lakes that have been completely destroyed, tanks that are completely like filled up. I mean, they need some amount of, local action, right? And the Sangh being the largest organization within India, uh, has been unable to build a cohesive program. And I think when you compare that with, some of the more uh, parochial announcements that you often get from, say, the Sar Sanchalak or people beneath him, it sort of leaves a bad taste in people's mouth.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few more questions because we have extensively talked about this in our private conversations. Okay, and so let me start and ask you some dumb questions from my end. If I am going to analyze organizations, like in general, over the past, let's say 400 years, something. So you have elite-led organization and you have ground of people doing things, doing work. So there would be a fundamental difference from my understanding. Correct me if I am wrong. My understanding is that if you are going to have a groundwork, like ground up organization, where they are primarily working with common folk to actually uplift their lives, and they do not have the time capacity or the inclination to do a lot of high end work like philosophy, writing books and all those things. So, and now these elite led organizations would be far more sophisticated marketing, PR, and they will have access to a lot of money, power, political power, social acceptance, status. So, in this context, Sangh being a ground up organizations, okay, it doesn't have its elites. If you can say, Sangh doesn't have elites in its own underbelly or own circles. Would you be comparing, let's say, World Economic Forum to RSS? And is that comparison fair?
No, no, absolutely not, right? Um, but I think like there is an organizational problem with the RSS. That's evident, and it's not got to do with like whether it's a top down or a bottom up kind of organization, right? So let's take the example that I previously gave, like which is basically like temples being used as landfills,
Trash dumps,
filled with yeah,
trash
yeah,
dumps in general.
trash dumps basically. So um, the cleanup effort, I mean, you can go on social media. There's been a bunch of cleanup efforts in rural Andhra Pradesh, right? Restoring them, putting them back into good health. That initiative was basically an initiative of a local RSS guy, right? And um, it should not be just an initiative of one person. If there was smarter leadership within the RSS, they would have looked at that guy, the effort he's put into getting the community across, and would have scaled that across the country, right? I mean, it need not be one person in one district in one taluk just restoring temples in his neighborhood. Why can't it be a nationwide program, right? So, and you don't need sophistication to do this. You just need good leadership, and it is sort of lacking, right? Um, and it need not just be temples. It's Maharashtra has a lot of Sangh shakas and also Swayam Sevaks as well. And in the Konkan region, there are lots of forts or guards, right? There are people who hike up there. It's very poorly maintained. Uh, there's no uh, I mean, people slip and fall and get injured all the time. Why aren't some volunteers basically going out there getting um, um, society to basically volunteer and fix it, right? Like, or rather maintain it, right? It is, after all, our heritage. Uh, and uh, it could be a program, right? So this is what I mean by like, there's a lot more that the Sun can do, but it's not doing. Uh, just to even self-promote itself. or just to show that it is an effective organization.
Yeah, so correct. You would have watched the Bharat Varta podcast, which I had shared to you. So we're going to like do a series of these podcasts. So this is just the start of it. So we are putting the foundations of the our topics and why we are talking about this. So correct, in the podcast that you would have seen from Bharat Varta itself, correct, here Mr. Ananda mentions that Sangh is a kind of a like Robert Putnam defined social capital. So it creates individuals, it equips individuals with the skills, and the individual goes and does his own thing. So like Sangh is a kind of a, like a training academy where you are trained morally, physically, leadership, help is provided to you. But at an individual level, you are free to do whatever you want to do with the skills which is imparted by Sangh. So in that your point, actually, do you think it conflicts with the way the Sangh operates and the way you want it to operate?
Um, no, I mean, I don't think the Sangh needs to make dramatic changes in order to basically have a broader civilizational mission, right? Like, all it needs to do is just elevate good people. The Sangh has always sort of done this, right? So, Modi himself was a Swayam Sevak. He went to the
Yeah,
Sangh.
he was a pracharak.
Yeah, he was a prachar, right? He went to the Sangh. The Sangh said, "Hey, maybe you know what? You'd be a better fit in the BJP." Now, where's Modi right now? He's on the top of the ladder, right? Like he is the prime minister. So the Sangh has both the talent, it has the insight to recognize good talent and leadership. Uh, it also has the organizations to put that talent into good work, right? What it's lacking right now is like a mission, putting it all together, right? You are in power. You're no longer like it's been what 12 years since Modi came to power, and the Sangh has been pretty much mainstreamed all this while, right? You're no longer opposing a government. You're no longer in a state of existentialism where you could be banned any time for doing any small thing, right? Um, so you need to think beyond like your traditional, or I wouldn't say traditional, like beyond your um, the instinct that you have developed over the past 60 years. You need to deliver stuff on the ground, and you also need to think beyond just the street level social assistance, which is also important, that you provide to people, right? Like today, if you want to deal with the court system, you'd find very decent sung lawyers, right? The talent exists, the organization exists. What is missing is sort of like a broader program, right? And I think that requires leadership at the top. That requires some level of seriousness about what is aligning with people broadly, understanding what Bharatiyata means, and building a program around.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you one more question. It's going to be a series of volley of questions. So now, when you are talking about Sangh is lacking the kind of a glue or maybe the formula to actually weave all the resources it has and make it of good use when they have some sway over the powers in New Delhi and in states. Now, what do you think? What is the inhibition? Is it take the example of correct UGC directive which came out and also the case of Abbas Maldiyar, where his book Babar was villainized by uh, I would say how would I say Hindutva affiliated publications, and he was vilified for promoting Babar as some kind of a savior. which is not the case. We have read the book, we have interviewed him, and we know which side he is. And just for the sake of the audience, correct? So this is the book written by Mr. Abbas Maldiyar. I think one of his earliest books, Modi Again. He was a communist, and he, being an ex-communist, he wrote a book and put his heart out why Modi needs to be the PM again. Okay, so this is the person who is been vilified, hunted by the so-called people who are on the Hindutva fold. What's happening? What happened after 100 years? Where this myopia coming from?
See, I think this is the entire Abbas Maldekar
No, no.
issue.
Yeah, I'm saying these are symptoms. As I mentioned
Yeah,
UGC, Abbas. There are multiple things would be there. I just gave one example, which I had the book. So don't take this as the only thing, but this is a symptom. Like what ails, what has happened that we are unable to identify who is with us and who is against us. Is that a like very simple thing to do in so many ways?
I think it could just be the sort of worldview the Sar Sanchalak also uh or the vision that he has, right? Like I think he's um trying to project the Sangh as this progressive, conservative organization that's purely sort of like, to lack of a better term, I'd say Gandhian. Right? That means like we don't engage in violence, we don't discriminate, uh, we don't, we are just like good people kind of thing, right? हम अच्छे लोग हैं. Uh, I think that
Shastri, hold
mentality.
on. Shastri, hold on. Just to get to the audience point, correct? Most a lot of people would have watched the correct Bengal Files movie. Okay, and in the Bengal Files movie, there is a famous dialogue which Gandhi said. Like it is not something they invented. Gandhi had mentioned, and we have also Vijitha also mentioned that when Sangh says, "Okay, we are a country, a nation of Gandhi. We follow the principles of Gandhi of non-violence, of non-discrimination, and all these things." Does Sangh also agrees with the Gandhi's definition that if Abrahamic comes to violate you sexually, you let him do and do not resist? Is that also Sangh's view?
I think the problem is the Sang's top Sang's view is not the same as what the bottom basically experiences. Right? Like take Kerala. There have been plenty of RSS workers that have been killed on quite on a regular basis. Even in Tulunad,
Thousand.
thousands,
If
yeah,
you count, it's going to be in thousand
in
being
thousands,
killed.
right? Um, Look at Tulunad. There's some Swayam Sevaks over there are being killed on a very regular basis, right? Probably in the hundreds, but still, it's still a lot. What has the Sang's reaction been for that, towards that? And herein lies the problem, right? Your own Swayamsevaks, I mean, the local shakas obviously are dealing the brunt of it, right? Like, but where's the support from the top, right? You're not acknowledging. See, it's not like the Sangh doesn't have Shatrubot. It has plenty of Shatrubot. But what has happened is that I think they have sort of like softened their Shatrubot
But
to the
why?
point of
Why
I
it is the case? Do you think?
that is something the Sar Sanchalak himself needs to talk about, right? I mean, I honestly want some workers to basically ask him, like, "Hey, what is your plan? What is your idea, right?" And at least, like, start that dialogue, right? Because it's like you can't have workers getting killed, your ground workers getting killed, and you have no response for it. You can't have, you can't keep on retreating from various places and then leave the workers get completely frustrated about it. Right? You can't you, you, you can't ignore some of the the good contributions that your ground workers, cadres do, right? And not provide them a way to basically expand it beyond their own taluk or neighborhood, right? Why isn't there a broader program, right? And I also think the Sangh is too stuck on procedure, right? Um, uh, if the court says you can't restore a murti, why are you abiding by the courts when nobody else is? Right? Prove a point. Tell the court that, you know what, we don't care about your judgment. We are going to restore the murti the way we want. We will pray the way we want. We are the land, right? I mean, these are things the sun can really. I mean, no amount of laws stop the sun from, mm, bringing down Babri Masjid. What is stopping them from restoring civilization itself? Right? So there's a sense of like um, the Sar Sanchalak himself is holding the larger organization back.
Yeah, if that is the case, but let me actually be do the pushback, okay, to be the devil's advocate here. uh, One argument is which I hear from many people is that the other side has nothing to lose, but we have a lot to lose. So we have to be a little bit more careful how we approach things. Rather, we can't just copy paste other adversaries' approach and processes because they are on the path to destruction. Do we want to be on the same path with them?
How is restoring a murti a form of destruction? How is restoring a tank in your taluka a form of destruction? I mean,
Because that may, because in the Sang's perspective or the Hindu organization's perspective, that may spark a greater level of violence across society.
so you're not willing to protect against that? I mean, at some point in time, you have to basically start taking ownership, right? If you're not willing to take ownership, then why your organization? What are you representing? Who are you representing? Right? I mean, you can't keep saying that, oh, I mean, I'd say this is like the Gandhian fear of violence, right? You can't keep like closing yourself off um, because you have this innate Gandhian fear of violence or this innate fear that, uh, uh, some boogeyman will come and basically destroy. Just see, here's my frustration, right? Um, the Sar Sanchalak and senior leaders at the RSS, they make big talk about Mahabharata, reading the Ramayana, etc., etc. But have they learned anything from those epics? Like Krishna says, don't worry about your emotions, don't worry about outcomes, just do the freaking act, right? Like he says that in the middle of Kurukshetra.
In the middle of the
You
battlefield.
in the middle of the battlefield. Krishna reminds them that you need to do your duty. You need to do your karma. He doesn't say like, "Oh, Arjuna, you're right. You're going to kill your cousins. Maybe we should give up. Maybe we should give up our land. This entire war is pointless." He says, "No, do the exact opposite, right?" Like, so in some sense, the Sangh essentially needs a Krishna to remind them that, hey, you need to do your work. Right? And I think to put it in very Hindu terms, that's what the Sangh is missing.
Okay, we're going to topic discuss one more topic, but before going to that section, 2014 onwards, correct? 2014 onwards, we have seen a tremendous, I would say, uh, cyclonic push towards economic development, social development, a lot of political integration across communities within the Hindu fold, SC, ST, OBC, all these things we have seen happening, political integration and social, economic, defense, we have done quite well. and we have seen a kind of defang the Hindu organizations who were actually leading the street fight to protect Hindus. Okay? Now, is there the government and also the aligned organizations, are they in a trap called tunnel vision syndrome, where they are looking at economic development as the only agenda which can uplift Bharatiya civilization, and others temple freedoms can be done later? Is there a
Mm,
tunnel vision syndrome happening with the organization Sangh and also the government at the same time?
see, I don't. I see. Here's the thing I don't understand, right? The song is basically like um, it. I'll put it this way: it lacks a mission, right? So in 2020, when the farmers' protest was going on,
Hmm.
Bharatiya Kisan Sangh blockaded Delhi for about a year, right? That's also a
Yes.
Sangh farmers' union. Now, if
Hmm.
for farmers you can blockade your capital and work against your political organization, the government that comes from your own parivar,
Hmm.
why aren't you doing this for other stuff, right? Why isn't the
Yeah,
Sangh create?
that's interesting because like whatever we know that it was like hijacked by a few unscrupulous actors within the. But was it, is it a Sangh affiliated organization which was doing that protest? Because we see a lot of Khalistani and other people also joined.
No, there were a couple of organizations. There was BKU,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Then there was like one more BK something something else. Then there is
Hmm.
BKS, a
Hmm.
Sangh affiliated farmers union blockaded Delhi for about a year. They were participant to it,
Hmm.
right? Their union was participating in this, right? At the same time, you have when the new labor laws came out, it was also a Sangh organization that basically said this is bad. Now, if individual affiliates can basically stand up against the government and its policies, right? Where's the forward-thinking organization that actually does the groundwork for Bharatiya civilization, right? Where is
Uh,
the
let me let me go back and borrow the words of Mr. Sachin Nanda, where he has mentioned that Sangh is a kind of a organized but at the same time diffused organization. So Mr. Sachin Nanda has told in his podcast that BJP is 100% autonomous in its own decision making, and inherently BJP can do whatever it wants. Sangh has nothing to do with what it does. So do you agree with his conclusions?
and sure, you can be whatever kind of organization you want, right? But let's look at the
Hmm.
actions. A BKS can blockade Delhi for a year. A Sangh affiliated organization can go against a BJP-led government, also another Sangh affiliated organization. They're both maintaining their independence. But the BJP gave way to PKS, right? It repealed the farm laws.
Hmm.
Where are the other Sangh organizations putting pressure on the government saying, like, oh, you need to do XYZ thing, or you need to enable XYZ things, right? On the flip side, let me also be a little bit more forward thinking as well. The Sangh has various think tanks, right? So, like Vivekanand International Foundation, India Foundation, Bharatiya Shikshan Mandal, Bharatiya Vichar Kendra Mandal, right? Now, out of these organizations, I think only the one organization, that's Vivekanand International Foundation, that's been founded by Ajit Doval, is the only one that's actually working. It's the only one that's producing sensible public policy, right? But it's also in a very narrow space. That's national security. Um, but what about Bharatiya Vichar Kendram, right? Where was the last time Bharatiya Vichar Kendram basically published something that you could read and basically be like, hey, this is sensible public policy. It's coming from a Sangh affiliate. Maybe we should promote it, right? I mean, and herein lies the problem, right? Like your um, affiliates are only working in the political domain, whereas your individual shakas are actually working on an individual basis on things that actually matter to people on the ground, the more civilizationally oriented people on the ground.
Okay, understood. So now let's diverge a little bit and bit of controversial topics. So when we are talking about Hindu Rashtra, correct? So when we go to Sang Prarthana, correct? So it is Hindu Rashtra that we are aspiring to become one day. And we also have like other groups who are part of the Indian civilization mule, that includes Abrahamic faith itself. I want to give an example, okay, and want to take like know your take on this. When Bangladesh was liberated by the Indian armed forces and Indian government intervention, that was 1971. Till 1980s, the Bangladesh society was bit better than what we see today. And we have seen Bangladeshi women, Muslim as well as Hindu, wearing sari, wearing a bindi, and following a kind of a classical Bengali Hindu culture etiquette. After 80s onwards, when we again there was a coup happened in Bangladesh, and it started slowly becoming more Islamized. Okay, a lot of money came from Gulf and other countries, and we now see women in Bangladesh wearing burqa, and they are chanting that we need to like eliminate the infidels. Now, when Sangh is quoting these Abrahamic faiths, okay, to integrate into the Hindu civilization itself, are we, as I'm talking about the whole Hindu organizations as a whole, correct? Sangh is part of it. We have VHP, Bajrang Dal. Now they have their own views on the Abrahamic faiths. When Sangh tries to integrate this Abrahamic faith into the Indian civilizational fold, are we ignoring the seeds of destruction which lie within their scriptures? Can we have these people with their scriptures and seeds and lie and become part of civilization, but sometimes they will transform into a wish tree which will destroy from inside?
It's wishful thinking, right? And it's also suicidal, to be honest. You're not, you're trying to trust a very toxic political ideology uh, with wishful thinking, hoping that they would reform themselves. That has never happened in the history of India, right? I mean, uh, when you look at the history of, say, Kitabi culture in India, we have tried to reform it multiple times. I mean, Sufi saints basically came as a result of their interactions with Advaitin saints, right? The kirtans, the Qawwalis came out of a result of kirtans and bhajans. But despite that, our temples were broken down. Our We were constantly butchered. Sometimes we were enslaved. Um, and on top of it, all of this culminated with a partition where they basically said that uh, you are too beneath us for you to rule us, so we're going to demand our own country. So, we, what kind of, I mean, with all of this happening, and the Sung's own narrative basically saying we've been colonized for 1,000 years, enslaved for 1,000 years, and you're saying that the same political ideology can be uh, Bharatiya out of its own goodwill. I think that's extremely wishful thinking, right? Like, if sure, you can basically say that, okay, um, the Kitabi doctrine is probably like part of Indian history and Indian civilization. ठीक है, तू बोल सकता है बोलने के लिए. And you might also want to say that, okay, uh, uh, we have to integrate them, assimilate them in some way or form, but you have to put effort towards it, right? Where, uh, what are you doing to fundamentally transform that society? What are you fundamentally doing to defang the deep toxicity in what those books says? Right? I have not seen a Sangh think tank basically the Sangh has plenty of legal think tanks, right? Why haven't they gone out there proposed uh, a law that basically criminalizes kafirism, basically hate against non-believers? I mean, you're not doing any of this, and you're basically shoving uh, very painful, uh, toxic ideology down, I mean, toxic acceptance down our throat for the sake of your sense of like secularism. I think that it's too much.
Okay, so whatever we have discussed till now, so in your opinion, and it's also my opinion, so everybody can have their own opinions. So it is not something that we want all of you to believe our opinion. You need to do your own research. We have done our research as much we could do. Do you think there is, over the years, there has been a gap in communication within BJP and also within Sangh organization, Sangh as an organization and Sangh affiliated organizations? So, is there a gap between the local ground worker and people who are making decisions? Is there a, a kind of a say hollowness between the ground worker and the people who are making decisions, creating policies and frameworks for these organizations?
I mean, from the outside, it does seem pretty evident, right? Like uh, you're not seeing like a structured kind of mission going on with Sangh workers. They're just doing things on their out of their own initiative. Uh, there's no consensus, right? If there was some consensus, then you would have like something beyond just one person in one taluk cleaning up tanks that have become trash dumps, right? You'd have more localized programs. You'd have a shaka basically discussing, hey, what is the next thing that we do within our own neighborhood to fix things, right? I mean, there are various government programs that they can be a part of, right? That they can organize, but that's missing. Like, um, the thing is, like, when Ram Janmabhoomi movement was going on, the shakas would organize. They would talk about it. The pracharaks would come and basically talk about what is Ram Janmabhoomi, why why are we doing this? What are we doing? What is our next step? There was that constant communication. There was always, they were bringing people together. They were organizing marches, right? Some of the volunteers were also doing work, right? Like cleaning up the local neighborhood, doing I mean, whatever. That mission mode is sort of missing, right? That mission mode is sort of missing. And the other thing is, I think there's a missing middle within the Sangh.
Mhm.
There's definitely a missing middle within the Sangh. You need your ground workers, you need your leadership, but there's like a middle management that's absolutely missing, right? So that middle manager can be field researchers, lawyers, uh, uh, you know, maybe like people who can bring political weight. It could be some local businesses as well, right? Why should um, the mazars all over cropping up all over Devbhumi,
Mhm.
right? Why are there two or three people with just like, a steel rod trying to get rid of it? Why isn't there a bulldozer doing that for them? Why isn't that bulldozer part of some Sangha, some guy's business? I mean, do something, right? Like You have your contacts, you have people who are out there part of society. Involve them, right? Why is it one individual effort doing all of these things, right? Um, so this is what I mean by missing middle, right? Or I've recently published the Observer Research Foundation, by the way, recently published one a book and also had a panel talk about Deoband's in the Indian subcontinent. Really informative talk. Right? It talks about how they think, how they are organized, who at a high level, who are the local players, what are the factions, right? How do they react with each other? How do they react with others? These are things the Sun can actually work on. You don't need to be a on the ground worker. You need good researchers. You need somebody to do these things, right? Someone with passion. You don't need to be trained, right? Dharampal was not a trained historian, but he wrote awesome historical books, right? The Sangh has plenty of such passionate people. Send them out there. Let them do at least do some intelligence work, right? If one uh, uh, have a lawyer always on standby supporting a Sangh guy, right? If one Sangh uh, worker has been murdered, have the lawyer build a case against the next uh, on the mullah. It's probably the mullah that's basically doing that's basically uh, conspired for that murder. Right? I mean, that missing middle is definitely missing.
Yes, so we are coming to the end of our conversations, and for the audience who are there, we are going to do a multitude of shows on this, on different topics, and then we will actually invite audience to come and join and talk to us. So right now we are just starting to set the base for these conversations. There are going to be multiple episodes on this and multiple topics that we're going to touch upon and try to find out where we are lacking and where we can go forward. So, the end of the conversation question. See, when we are talking about a ground level organization, okay, and there has been a conversation. A lot of I have spoken. I think you also know. I have spoken to many people, specifically academics, authors, who are doing the intellectual warrior work. Okay, and I have never heard anyone, I mean, not a single person who has appreciated by any way the way Sangh takes the intellectual warrior part of the struggle of civilization, or the BJP. Like, is there, I would say, for a better lack of better word, a Stockholm syndrome with Sangh and the BJP with regard to intellectual warriors, and they think that their way of groundwork mobilization is the only way to uplift Hindu civilization. There is no scope of writers, historians, authors, intellectuals doing any kind of, they're useless people because they have seen what things have been done by Marxists and liberals over the years.
I don't think that's true, right? BJP itself promotes a lot of intellectuals. We just don't. I mean, Sachin Nanda is one of them, right? Like you could probably say that, right? Like uh, the
Sachin
thing is like
Nanda, Sachin Nanda is not that fold. I can, okay. Let me then when you take the name, correct. So let me give you example. My personal opinion. Okay, this is my opinion. All people can disagree with that thing. Sachin Nanda has a degree, a proper degree on, I think, comparative religion on Islam and Christianity. I might be a little bit here, but he has studied Islam as a technical academic subject. Now, and he talks about that the Islam that was there in India was benign, and some people came and poisoned their heads, and then we had Mopla riots. I don't know. I am not an academic. I am not a very. person, knows a lot of things. But I understand that the seeds of kafir being a bad person is there in the scriptures. How can you ignore that part and consider people who believe, who read the scriptures to be liberal? And one day they will get brainwashed by one person. They were not. Yes, go ahead, Munshi.
I mean, that's the thing, right? They're not liberal at all. But the the flip side
Why
argument is,
liberal? Why liberal people think they are liberal? That's my question. Like, I tear my hair. I don't have hair because of that.
um,
Yeah,
Anand, you won't take a stab at that?
Hello. Sorry, a little late. I was doing other things. Um,
yeah.
so your question. Let me see if we can get the question correct. You're saying why do liberal people think that Muslims can be liberal at some point?
Let me
Or
give
they
you
are?
like concrete. Wait. A concrete example. Take the
Okay.
example of Sachin Nanda, who has studied Islam as a academic subject for to earn his degree. Okay.
Okay.
Now, Muhammad Ghori, correct, Ahmad Shah Abdali, Akbar, Aurangzeb, literally massacring Hindus because they are kafirs, and that is sanctioned by their scriptures. Now, hasn't he read all those things? Now, Mr. Ajinanda says that, okay, the kind of Islam we had in India was very benign, Sufi kind of Sufi Islam singing. And doesn't he know the history of Sufis? And he says some people came and brainwashed the people in Kerala, and then Mopla massacre happened. Now what? So they are, in their mind, Muslims are liberal, okay, tolerant. Somebody, people come and eat their brains, and they become illiberal and fascist. Where
Um,
this mindset comes from?
I think I'll put it this way, right? So, Western academia has actually become very left-centered, and there's a massive cancel culture here. You say the wrong things, you will be kicked out of your department. There's a lot of gatekeeping and etc. etc. Now, I don't know if Nanda is saying this just because he wants to say it publicly, but the fact that he's written a pretty decent biography on Hentewa
I
says that there's
accept.
more. Hmm?
I accept that he has done a really good job in the biography. uh, I really appreciate his work for that. I really appreciate.
Yeah, so it says there's something more than just, what he says on the surface, right? But I'm trying to come back to the original point, right? Like you you can bring talent, right? You have inherent talent. You just need to put them all together.
You can bring talent, you have talent, you are not utilizing them, for not now, for over decades, correct? These people existed in the in the Sangh parivar for so many decades. So why we did not see the kind of work? Now see, from Anand Ranganathan to Abbas Maldiyar to other authors who have done, they are not Sangh products, they are outside Sangh products. So, is there a Stockholm syndrome, or is there something that, okay, it's not in the DNA? They are too much into groundwork, so they don't have any idea how academia works. So they are clueless what's happening.
No, here's the thing, right? I don't think it's either. I think the Sangh is probably investing too much in intellectualism. Because what the Sangh really needs is that middle, right? That you need that string of lawyers. Now, if our and you need to show that to others that hey, I have this missing middle, the sort of umbrella to protect you, and not just for the Sangh, but also people allied with them. Let me give you an example. Why does Abbas Maldia need to escalate it up to PMO India for
Yes,
something? It's something
trivial,
that's
a
it's something
trivial thing.
it's not just trivial, but hyper local, right? It's something that impacts Bhopal. Dainik Swadesh is like its circulation, it's primarily a Bhopal paper. It's even concentrated there, right? So you don't need the PMO to basically intervene and basically go like, hey, there's something wrong with Dainik Sandesh. That should be taken up by a local lawyer. Why aren't you throwing lawsuits after lawsuits after lawsuits at Dainik Sandesh, right? I mean, why aren't you um, getting some volunteers or somebody to file FIRs against the author? ये सब कर सकते हैं, right? Swatting तो करते ही रहते हैं इन लोग हर जगह. I mean, the BJP does some amount of swatting. Congress does some amount of swatting. But when it matters to our own people, we are somehow reluctant. उनको अपने आप भुगतने दो. ये क्या mentality है इनका?
So where it comes from, Anand, you can give a different voice. Why this mentality from outside person? Because you're not an inside person, but still, what's your opinion from outside? Why it
See,
happens?
I will tell you very
Why
simply.
Congress and communists are opposite of what BJP and Sangh is in this regard?
Because the BJP unfortunately has not understood the most fundamental part of this problem. They
Mm-hmm.
don't understood that evil is banal. It is not explicit. The Congress knows this very clearly. The Congress understands that evil is in the daily life of people. Daily common people can be evil. The Sangh, unfortunately, is in this ironically, in a very Christian mentality that good people are all good. Evil is this external
They
force
are
that.
they are misguided. We need to put them in the right direction.
Not just that, they think that there'll be something explicitly evil to fight. Then they don't realize evil is fundamental to being human. And the Congress understands this and they weaponize it. Same with the leftists. The leftists weaponize evil. They know exactly where evil comes from. Evil is a common person, can be evil. With the right words, with the right flavor of an argument, you can make a person evil. Like if you, I was watching this documentary today, okay? There's this journalist who went into Bastar. And he went and met all the tribals, the ones who have surrendered. She's asking them questions like, why did you kill people? What is the reason? No, because because our life was hard, and the guy said he will the Naxal leader said he will promise us good life, and they give good nice songs. This Naxal songs very nice, so I joined. The young girl is saying, I joined to become a Naxal because nice songs, but that led to people getting killed. Same with ISIS brides. They went to I joined the ISIS. Why? Because they had this weird fuzzy feeling that they will have a very good life with the ISIS. So sometimes you need to understand. It just requires the right whisper in the right ear to turn someone evil. They think they will be able to save people. You're
See,
this is the thing. Realism is required.
abs-
It's just in my opinion.
absolutely, absolutely. See, we are having some good impact. One of our subscribers, so people who are watching, do share our content, do subscribe to our channel. And here's the good news, correct? The person has saw our podcast, listened to our podcast, and ordered the book. So this is something good coming out of our effort, our initiative. So yes, thank you for ordering the book. Also, gift. So all the people who are watching, the books doesn't cost a lot. Do gift books to people in Diwali, in other festivals. Buy some book and give the books to kids, other people to read. That's also a good thing to do. Yes. So
See,
now,
so
go ahead, Anand. Go ahead.
and the irony is that the son can learn so much, and this was my problem. My problem is a lot of Hindus look at their scriptures as just stories and or like religious stories, but there's so much moral philosophy you can use in a daily life. Like literally the son can weaponize or at least use the Gita in such a the Mahabharata in such a well made way. Even the Ramayana, right? What is the Ramayana telling you about when Rama comes back with Sita? He comes back with Sita. They've done nothing wrong. They have struggled and they've struggled and they've struggled. And what have the people of Ayodhya done? Instead of saying, welcome back, we put you in so much difficulty, they decide to challenge them again. These good people who struggled for society, who followed the dharma, what did people do? People put them through more difficulty. which is very relevant to today. People who are struggling for dharma, people like Modi who are struggling for dharma, what are we doing? Every time we do something good, we target him. He brought the 3 farm laws, start targeting him. Put him on Agni Pariksha. Put him like this. This is what is happening on a regular basis. I've noticed this, observed this thing. Nirmala Sitharaman brings out GST law. Popcorn, what is the difference between caramel popcorn and this popcorn? Is that really what that matters to you? Do you care? Does it affect your life in a daily, in a substantive way? Or does the fact that a new road that lets you travel to office and lets you lose every day you lose like 1 hour less or 2 hours less of your life? Is that more important than the caramel popcorn? See, this is very important. And this is what Hindus should be teaching on a daily basis. This is what should be reflecting on. That they don't reflect on. Right? Same thing, the RA car shed, this issue. Does it matter
Hmm.
that metro will increase the lifespan of all your kids because pollution will reduce, or a handful of trees that can be grown again?
Hmm.
Which matters more to you in your priority? The communists are able to weaponize this banality, this evil attitude, right? That people have, that we are willing to attack people for no reason, no substantive reason. They weaponize this, which the Sangh has not been able to do. Till now, it's not been able to do it. That's why my biggest problem with this word appeasement. I think I told last time also. This word of using appeasement, 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 again and again they keep using it. It is not. You ask any person in the world, when they say appeasement, they see seen as positive. Pandering is seen as negative. Because pandering means doing something, saying something, and not doing anything out of it. Appeasement is actually helping people. Like that. That issue is significant. That's what is causing this problem.
Yeah, and
Okay. Go ahead, Shastri. Go ahead.
just to add to that, right? And the Sangh also needs to uh, pick up new stuff, right? Like you can't keep harping on the virtues of Ram Janmabhoomi anymore. So just to add to what um, Anand
Anand has
said,
said.
right? Uh, at RA, when the metro car shed was being built in RA, where was the Sangh affiliates? Why weren't they organizing in support of that? It is your own affiliate that the BJP is that project was basically driven by Devendra Fadnavis, right? Don't you want to show some on the ground support? That was completely missing. You know who went there? It was basically a bunch of kids on a forum hosted in Toronto who basically like said that, oh, this project is important for our city. We need better infrastructure. They organized themselves on that forum. They said, we'll go on this time, we'll show our presence, we'll do. These are things the Sangh can, ground workers of the Sangh can actually pick up, right? I mean, these are, see, new issues will always crop up. New classes of issues will always crop up, right? You need to understand that where the local people's zeitgeist is going to be, where people's benefit is going to be. And you have to basically step ahead and basically organize for that. I mean, this is and this is what is fundamentally missing about the Sun, right? One is the missing middle, which basically like they don't have their people that's between the leadership and the ground workers who's there to basically become sort of like a force multiplier for the ground workers, and also the Sun being unable to basically pick up new. I mean, all of this is not to it is nothing's wrong with the organization, its structure, its what it says, its rhetoric and all. I think it's just it's an issue of leadership. It's an issue of vision to basically make a Sung 2.0, Sung 3.0. I mean, as you solve issues, you have to pick up new issues, right? As you pick up new issues, you have to you have to learn what the issues are. You have to build a support system for that issue. Like that takes leadership from the top to basically be like, okay, I anticipate this is going to be a thing. We need to start preparing for. I think that's been missing. That's been missing. That's been missing ever since Ram Janmabhoomi.
Okay, Munshi has to go, so I'll ask last question to Munshi, and then he can leave. So this very persistent and very important issue of temples being controlled by the state and the central governments by By in majority, it is done by the state government, by the legislations of the Temples Management Act. So, do you think that Hindu organizations are not working or not vocal enough on the temple freedom issue, and why Sangh is silent on this, or its affiliates silent on this? And is that a symbolic representation of the lack of connection, communication between the ground level Hindus who have awakened after so many decades of ignorance, and like, for, is the voice of Hindus, is that strong enough, large enough, that some says that the temple freedom movement is still a fringe movement to the concerns of overall Hindu society, or is it that the Sangh is not able to listen to the common Hindu who are shouting, but Sangh is not able to, or Sangh affiliates are not able to uh, hear the voice of temple freedom as the most persistent, important issue for today?
See, some things I think the Sangh needs to realize that you don't need consensus on every issue, right? Temple free. I'm pretty sure within the Sangh itself, there's like different factions with different takes on how temple should be managed, right? You don't need consensus on that. The second thing about the temple freedom stuff is that it's not mainstream. Sorry, it's not fringe, right?
Hmm.
Um, but in mainstream, it's a cacophony. When you talk about temple freedoms, which temple are you talking about? Which state are you talking about? Right? So it's not like you hear different issues for different temples. None of them is basically converged up to a single um, narrative framework or a political framework or something that basically sort of becomes like this is what we will do. We will change laws. We will change the way management works. I mean, some of that requires leadership, right? And not the leadership from activists on the ground, right? Not the TR Ramesh or the folks who basically go to courts and contest these things. They need help, but it needs to be a level above. There needs to be someone more. See, if the Sar Sanchalak basically, this is the role of Sar Sanchalaks, right? Recognizes someone and basically says, "Hey, you're a pracharak, you're a good pracharak. Go out there, tackle this issue, develop it, build on it." That's the only thing the Sangh needs. Top leadership in the Sangh needs to do. You don't need broad consensus for everything, right? You see, it's just one simple thing. You don't need an affiliate organization to do it, any of it. All you need to do is basically send a pracharak, tell them, okay, go out there, tackle temple freedoms. Build me a nationwide program that tackles temple freedoms in every taluka. That's all they need to do, right? Because it's not a fringe issue, but it's a localized issue. And everybody is basically like screaming like as if it's a fish market, so you don't know what the heck is even going on. And to fix that, you actually need leadership, and the Sangh is not providing that. That's unfortunate.
And Sangh, as let me actually show you some specific things before Shastri, I let you go. Just hold on, it is still there or not? Okay. Uh, Fine. Okay. Yeah. Let me show you this, and then Anand and I can continue for the rest of the time, because there are a few more things which needs to be discussed. But let me show it as a kind of a eye opener for a lot of people who think what Sangh is and what it is not. So, as per Mr. Sachin Nanda, Sangh is in the model of Robert Putnam social capital theory. So, the primary job or role of a Sangh is to build social capital so that other networks, norms, and trust, which will again build the civilization that we want Bharat to become, is going to be enabled and become a reality. So, are we expecting Sangh whose primary job is to build social capital, trust, networks, and frameworks on which individuals will form groups, and groups will form communities, and communities will build the businesses, the networks, and social society as a whole to actually build civilization. Are we expecting too much from the Sangh, from their core goal of social capital building as the primary their job role? Last question to you, and then you can leave.
Um, no, I think we're expecting too little, right? I mean, see, the sun doesn't need to build networks. The networks are already there. What the sun needs to do is basically use that network, right? So, um, why isn't so? For example, take temple freedoms as an example, right? Why isn't there a prachar? See, if you send a pracharak to help those folks, they can basically find some media person. The Sangh has a journalistic organization called the Organizer. Some of those folks have actually moved on to mainstream media, right? So you can build that contact. You can have, say, the lawyer basically write a piece about temple freedoms, have a journalist come there and you know talk about the issue. I mean, but you're not doing that. This is what building social capital means on the ground. It's not a fluffy sociology concept. It's not a fluffy thing. It requires you to perform some actions. Now, if you're unwilling to do that for temple freedoms, then I don't know what you exist for.
Okay, so thank you, Shastri, for your time. We will have this as a podcast series, and we will do multiple episodes on this. So we'll also have other guests come in, and we will also try to invite the authors of many people who wrote books on Sangh to come and talk to us. But that we will see how much we can do. So thank you, Shastri, for your time, and do join us again.
Thank you,
Thank
Shashi.
you, Jai Shri Ram.
No, no, Anand, you can stay on
No, I'm
if you
just
have.
saying thank you.
Yeah. So, Anand, coming back to so correct lot of like I also did not know a lot of things. So I read through few books. If you see, this book is also available here. I read through few books. So from the Mr. Dr. G or Mr. Baliram Hedgewar, who founded the Sangh, okay, from the books which was written by Mr. Sachin Nanda, he has a conclusion or theory that Sangh is a social capital building organization because the primary problem with Hindu society and in general the society of Bharat, okay, where nobody trusts each other, and that lack of trust is due to low social capital. So Sangh was founded to actually build the social capital, the networks, which will then enable Bharat to become again a great civilization, which it was 1,000 years ago. So, what do you think? Is Sangh doing that job in your perception in a right manner, or they lack something from an outsider perspective? Because you are an outsider, you are not an insider of the organization.
Correct. No, I disagree with the premise itself that
Hmm.
the Hindu society doesn't have the ability to do social capital. That is an
Hmm.
incorrect premise because if you observe throughout history, without the Sangh, the Hindu society has been able to build social capital when it requires it. Right when Somnath was being attacked, the society was able to build social capital. Right when Sri Rangam was attacked, the Hindu society was able to build social capital. They are able to build social capital when the situation is little dire. So when it is dire, they're not able to build social capital before the situation comes to a head. That's the problem. It's like when you are in a difficult situation, then Hindus are able to band together and do a good job. They actually have some of the best in the world in terms of like they're able to defend their society. My problem is different. My problem is you
Hmm.
take again temple freedom. You take right. Forget about
Hmm.
temple freedom. What about temple protection of temple asset? See, freedom comes is a The reason temple freedom is so demanded is because temple assets are not being protected; they're being stolen, right? So, okay, if you okay, you say I can't do temple freedom right now; it's difficult. So why not work towards protection of temple assets, protection of temple assets, and use for Hindu society? Where is that movement? I don't see that movement. Kerala has a large number of shakas. Okay, let's check very clearly.
Hmm.
It's a large number of shakas. When Shabrimala happened, did we hear anything from the shakas? Did we hear anything? Sabrimala, with gold is theft, right? Did we hear
Hmm.
any
Hmm. Hmm.
argument, any pushback? This is our cultural capital. This is our religious capital. Why is it being stolen? Why is it being stolen by few unscrupulous people? Right? They didn't challenge that.
And they may be Hindus in name itself. So that also is fine, correct?
It doesn't
They may
matter
be
what their
communists who
names.
have Hindu.
It doesn't matter what their names are. Even if they're Hindu in belief and they still stole, it is still a dharma,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? The job of the Sangh is not only to protect, to defend for all Hindus. It's to defend against adharma in society, right? So you may be facing Hindu on the other side, but if he's doing nonsense to destroy your dharma, it's your job to stand up to them. Stand up to them and say, no, this is not unacceptable, right? There may be Hindus in DMK, but they're stealing temple money. They're demeaning the Hindu society. They're removing the value of the land of the society. They're targeting Hindu rituals that people have a right to. So that's why that's social capital you have to build. Where is that social capital? Right? Take for example, this happened uh, the lack of respect for life. There's not a lack of respect for life in India. What about that thing? That change you can make, no? Bring the idea of having respect for life in your society. When you see someone dead, dying on the road, people run away. What about that within Hindu society? Right? That's something you can build. That's social capital you can build. What about, for example, pollution? Everyone that is touched with the RSS ecosystem should have one goal: not pollute. And how many people that must be? There must be like millions of people. That you can do
No,
through your shakas.
no, no, they do. So I can tell you factually that the bulk of the sorry, the bulk of the like social work is like correct in Chennai. They will have beach cleaning days, so where the Sangh people who are affiliated to
No, I'm not
Shakas, they'll
talking
go
after
and
dirty. See, you're missing the
hmm,
point. I'm not talking about after it gets dirty. That is harder to
okay.
remove once it gets dirty. I'm saying make it a part of your daily life. These principles that you have of cleanliness daily. It literally comes out of the, and then you go make your family affect your friends will affect. It just expands over time. Just imagine the amount of people the sun can affect. That is social capital, right? And then you build respect for the people who are. See, again, you look at this. They talk about bringing society together, right? How does it start? How does cleanliness make this cleanliness concept? Why does it make such a valuable movement? Because you're like respecting the person who has to go pick up trash. The minute you throw trash, someone has to do extra work unnecessarily. I've noticed this one a problem in India. कुछ हुआ है, किसी और को क्लीन करना है, किसी और को फिक्स करना है. वाई? बिकॉज वो लोअर क्लास है मुझसे और वो डिफरेंट क्लास है मुझसे. उसको करना है, उसका जॉब है. मैं गंदा कर सकता हूं. Imagine the paradigm shift the sun can make. Fundamental shift. You don't talk about the different castes being oppressed. This is a paradigm shift you can do on the ground. Every Sangh person respects nature and respects the people who are going to clean up the trash. So automatically the dignity of that work also comes up. So you're making fundamental changes. You're not just talking. Lip service nahi hai. You're doing something substantial.
Okay, one more thing. There is a perception or a concept that like inherently you need to feel okay, you'll do something and you do it on your own will rather than somebody telling you you need to do this. So is there a mismatch in terms of human nature, understanding human nature, where
Yes.
from now, so let me just elaborate. So correct, we have correct philosophers who have specifically like like diagnosed that whatever we do, okay, it is not something which is inherent to us, but the environment actually teaches us to do something, correct? A person who is in a desert, correct, he will be in a water saving mode. His environment has taught him he should not waste water. But somebody who lives in Kerala, where it rains for 3 months, water saving is least of his problems. Correct. So this voluntary approach is something which is a misunderstanding of human nature itself, because you cannot expect a common person to actually know the value of like not throwing the trash on the onto the road but onto the bin until you punish that person for his act and tell him this is bad. So is like organizations are expecting that person to throw trash for 20 years, then he will realize it's bad and then he will stop it. Is that
No, no,
something which is going on?
no. It is completely different. Our situation is complete. We have passed the point. This is learned behavior. This is part of it. It's like an addiction in society to throw trash. People don't realize they want to throw trash. They it's so inbuilt in us, because when the concept of plastics came into India, there was no education. You look at Japan. Japan didn't have this problem at all. They were able to modernize with no problem, none of the consequences that we face. Why? Because their structure of society was very focused on duty. Like you see a constitution, right? They talk a lot about duty, but they don't not society is not structured based on duty. What happened was we destroyed societal structures for thousands of years, for 1,000 years, and instead when we got independence, of starting right back with that, we like rights. Go straight to rights. When you go straight to rights, you are like, what is your responsibility of society? Nothing. Which you notice the best run countries in the world focus on duties first, then rights. They start with duties first, then they talk about rights. Your rights flow from the fact that you have you have completed your duties to your society. Then your rights come from there, because everyone is doing your duty, and because you're doing your duty, everyone has the rights. We in India, we didn't the reverse. We had like just rights, no duties. Like not a single duty was discussed. Now Modi ji is bringing about concept of duties, but it's too late. And for that, you do need to get, you're right, you need to punishments, because people are so used to a certain way of behaving, or at least consistency in behavior. Like I observed in COVID, when COVID started, right? People were following the rules of the distancing, all that stuff very well. But the minute someone broke the rule, everyone wanted to break the rule. So our society
That's
works on this.
a that's a mob behavior across geographies. That's a mob behavior which is default. It's a human behavior in
No, but
general.
you observe in other side, in Western societies, telling
Hmm.
people to social distancing was difficult. They were not listening. They were like, no, man, I will do what I want. Who are you, government, to tell me what to do? We didn't do that. In India, we didn't have that. We didn't face that at all. We didn't face any pushback to the government saying, how dare you tell me to social distance? Not a single person said that. Everyone said, yes, the government understands my needs. A social distance is a good idea. We'll all social distance. So we are a very rule abiding society, but we require guidance. And to me, currently, just wishing people will be clean is not enough. You have to make it a process. Got to make it a the natural behavior one follows as a community. You cannot expect individuals like, oh, 1,000 individuals will say okay, we will read like this, and then everyone will read like that. No, you have to. That's what I'm saying. The sun could be such a force multiplier sort of thing, because they like connected to the ground. And imagine the amount of dignity people get, because everyone is behaving the same way, everyone's behaving in a positive manner. There's no chance for us to criticize one another for these kind of things, because you notice the trend in social media. What is it? Those people are dirty, those people are filthy. You just see the identity of person. You say those people are this, those people are that. This is what, that's what I think. Social capital is built that way. You build it through what you can impart to society, which they've not done, which they can do. They have so many sakas around the country. If they're able to win elections, they should be able to do this as well. Let me ask you one question. Nagpur. Nagpur is the center of the sun. Can we say Nagpur is the cleanest city in India?
No.
Why? See,
Yeah, that's a very interesting question.
see, if they could do even one city where they control. Imagine if the Nagpur is the cleanest city in India. Not a single place you will find trash anywhere. Like in at all. Just imagine the message they will send about what the Saran Sangh stands for.
That's a
Just imagine.
very interesting perspective, which I did
Imagine
not think.
if they made in Nagpur, there was no chance of a person having to dig a drain, like dig up a drain. No poor person would have to clean up a drain for someone else. So imagine the message they will send throughout India, saying this is what the Sangh stands for. We stand for the fact that we do not want people to go into a drain and dig it up just because we are filthy and we keep making a mess of the drain. Imagine you don't need to do politics. This is a powerful message. It sends across the country. And no amount of conversion can take away this message. How much of propaganda they do, this can't take away this message.
Yeah, but okay. So let me be the devil's advocate here.
Sure, sure.
How much? Correct. There are, let's say, 100 problems, 100 issues which needs to be taken care of. Okay. So they can only take care of, let's say, 5 issues at a time. So other 95 would be in the back burner. So, what do you think the common people or the people who are not with Sangh, how they can help in this? Because practically it is not very feasible. There are million issues with us being a country size of people we are.
No, but my point is certain things that have resonance today, even today, this
Hmm.
concept is resonant. I'm telling you, this is major resonance. Every
Hmm.
standard of society is worried about this, right? It'll have so much resonance, the Sangh will get so much more additional manpower. Because people are like, oh, they did this. Let me also support them in this other thing that they're doing. And this other thing that they're doing. And this other thing that they're doing. My point is, it's like a floodgate. It'll open up. The problem right now is they are having to convince other people of the value of their work. They should not need to, but I'm saying this is a good way to convince people. Same way,
Yeah,
like same.
but
I told you about the protection of temple wealth.
hmm, hmm.
What is stopping them from saying we will at the ground level audit the people who are running the temples? We will go check their books every month or so. We will check their books, and if there's an issue, we will do protest in that area.
Absolutely.
Just imagine you literally have to go, or you don't have to spend the entire month or just every week or so go and ask for a RTF, that particular temple that is being very controversial. See whether use people, your resources, put out a thing saying this is what has been is happening with the money, right? The common person going 20 to 24 going to office 9 to 5 will not be able to do these things, but an organization will be able to do it, but much better than a common person. A common person may want to do this, may want to go into auditing, but it's difficult for them to bring up the this is the thing. Like Shastri said earlier, TR Ramesh can only go so far. He can fight a single case, but a large organization can do much more. Temple freedom is the last thing. It's a political thing, right? But protecting the asset, or being a watchful person on these things is doable. I think. I'm not sure. It's again that's practicality depends, but I'm just saying that's
Okay,
doable.
so let me extend that specific part. Correct. So we are like our topic is symbolic gestures to substantive power. Correct. So just telling okay that we need temple freedoms, it may be a gesture. Okay, but substantive would be correct as you mentioned. Correct. So we have minority institutions. Okay, who have control over their institutions, policy, frameworks, money, land, whatever they have. Now, why can't Hindu organizations? I'm not talking about even Sangh. Okay, Sangh
Hmm.
is not a Hindu organization as per their own definition. Like they are organization who believe in Desh Bhakti. Okay.
Yeah.
Nationalism is not the right word. Desh Bhakti is the right word. So they are Desh Bhakti organizations who are building social capital. So we are not. Why there isn't uh, concentrated, organized, well funded campaign to make sure that an equal right to Hindus of Bharat, which other enjoy. From Article 25 to 30, correct? There are rights given to minorities. Fine, we give them, no problem, give them. Why cannot now why even can't our organizations put forward a point that we have minorities have all the rights to run their own organizations, why can't the same rights be given to Hindus? Is this something which is evil in nature, that everybody, like, we haven't seen the kind of campaign which should have been happening? Okay. Is this something evil that we are asking as Hindus, and why the Hindu organizations are saying, no, 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 don't do it right now, it will offend people, or what will happen? What do you think, what's happening?
No, I think see, this cannot be done by Hindu organizations. This can be done by politicians. See, the problem, that's the thing. The point is
Wait,
we have
wait,
created.
wait. No, no, no. Anand, Anand, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. When you say politicians, okay,
Yes,
does politicians get a dream that, okay, I need to do this thing? I had a dream last night, and he does it. What politician does is dictated by his hold on power, correct? His politicians' actions are driven by their
yes,
tenacity to hold power, to win
yes.
elections, correct? So how
That's
do
one
you
kind of
hold power?
that's one kind of politician. That's my point. There are
Okay,
multiple types of
okay,
politicians. See, we are
okay.
looking
Can
at
you explain?
so there are politicians who do not care about whether they hold power or not, but they are there to
Hmm,
make a change. They're a very simple kind of politics. There are some kind of politicians like that. Lee Kuan Yew.
hmm,
He was
hmm.
like, I don't care if I come get elected again, but when I'm doing something right now. I'm going to implement the best form of it. He gave poison. He drank wish for a society. He is still people call him dictator, but he drank that wish. He's like, I don't mind being called dictator, but I will drink the wish and I will do something. It's okay. People may call me names. It's okay. Till today they call him names, but he doesn't. He doesn't matter. He's like, I don't care. There are politicians
He
like that.
cares. Correct. So he is the correct true nationalist in this proper context. Correct. He built Singapore what is today.
No, Singapore had no nationhood. You have to understand. There was no nation called Singapore. He created a nation called Singapore. You understand that? Very important. He created that unifying identity. Singaporeans didn't like each other. The Chinese didn't like each other. The Malays didn't like it. They didn't like each other at all. There was a lot of hatred among them. I'm telling you honestly. When Singapore got independent, they hated each other. But he said, "No, I will not accept this distinction. I will not accept this fact that you guys want to hate each other." And if a true politician like the ones we have to here today would have, and there were people like that by the way in Singapore who said they'll pander to each group and they'll spread the hatred among each group. He said, "No, I will not let you people do it. I don't care if you hate me, but I'll remove that fighting among yourselves and we'll unite and we create a new nation." Which there's some such politicians exist. You don't understand. There's some politicians they'll be called dictator, but they'll do it for they'll take the pain for the good of this society, right? They don't mind taking it. Then there are politicians who don't care about their voters. They'll play games, right, to get as much seats, as much votes as possible, just enough to get into power. But then they don't care. They don't really care. Then there are politicians who have a long-term vision for the country, but they're like, I want to get votes of the people. I want consensus. Then only I will do it. Like Modi. Modi ji is basically he's like that. He's like, I'll get consensus, then I'll do it. Or else I'll not do it. It's very
Yeah.
clear kind of politics. So my point is, and let's go back to the other point. You're saying what happens? Why is Hindu organizations not able to do this? My point is, Hindu organizations may want to do it also, but the politician ultimately listens to his constituents, and the constituents don't care what the Hindu organization wants.
About
Doesn't matter.
about temples. You are saying
Yes,
the constituents who vote or there is not enough critical mass of common people who want our temples to be free, or there
because
prosperity.
they don't even understand what it means about temple freedom. They don't understand the reason for temple freedom. They think it's, oh, someone wants to control the temple because they see everything in terms of power, right? Because they're used to seeing everything in terms of who has power over something and how they'll misuse it. They see the bureaucrats have power, they misuse it. They see the cop has power, they misuse it. They see the politician have power, he misuses it, right? They're distrustful of any organization that will control the Hindu temple. That's the problem. They've been trained this way.
Wait, wait, wait,
Trained
wait,
like
wait,
this.
wait, wait, wait. So correct. So when I have, we can see the graphic. Correct. It is on the screen. In the screen. So what you are saying, the distrust or mistrust of common folk from each other is, and the cause is lack of social capital, which creates or the function of low social capital is distrust or mistrust among people.
Not social capital, social
And
trust. I will say social trust,
no,
not
no,
social capital.
n-
Disagree with that wording.
no, no,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But social trust is the function of social capital. If you can see here, correct, the divided trust. So if you have a low social capital in your own society or in your own community, you will have people who are not trusting each other. The
No, no, I don't
the
think. I don't think
higher
Hindus. No, Hindus don't distrust each other. They distrust authority. They distrust people who want to take authority or something. There's a little difference. So I see a lot of like Hindus able to organize very well around the country. Like they want to organize a dinner, they're able to do it. But when it comes to
Hmm.
someone has authority to decide something uniquely on their own, then Hindus have been taught to distrust. And this is a taught behavior, by the way. It is not something inherently Hindus are like that. This is taught behavior. And my point is that you have to break that thing, and only a politician can break it. Like I told you, in Singapore, they hated each other. They didn't want to live with each other. They look at each other with distrust. The same thing. It required a politician with vision to say, I will break this. It's not enough to expect it to come to the ground. Some things cannot be come from the ground. Some things cannot come to the ground. You need a visionary to break this. And if a visionary doesn't want to break it, it will never change no matter how much you do groundwork. Especially in a gigantic country like ours. You have to break it. You
So
have to
okay.
break this. The critical mass, only a politician can bring. Common people cannot. This is why I disagree with the
Mm.
BJP. BJP says this, I excuse all the time. People don't want us to do this. No, it doesn't matter. Do the right thing. If you want Ram Rajya, Ram didn't do the right thing because people didn't want him to do it. He did it because he said this has to be done. Everything, whatever. His family didn't want to go into Vanvas. But it had to be done because his father said so. He had to listen to his father's statement. There was only one person among hundreds who said so. But he still did it. Because his duty said must do it. You cannot say Ram Rajya on one side and not behave like Ram on the other side.
Okay, then let me ask you one more question. So
Yeah.
this thing called narrative, correct? It's a very ugly, bad, evil thing which people should not do because it's inherently evil. People think that the narrative is inherently bad. So do you think it is inherently bad, or it is something of human psychology, human behavior, human nature that humans learn behavior by observing other people do the same thing? So is it bad? Is it evil, or is it something which is human nature and we have to exploit it to do some good things rather than do bad things?
Ultimately, whatever require the task that you have given for yourself, everything you need to get to do to get that task done. Everything. Whatever needs to get done needs to get done. Krishna is very clear on this as well. He's very clear. If you look at our philosophy, very clear. Your ultimate goal is all that matters. The path, the way, all that doesn't matter. You have to get it done, and that's it. The consequences that come along the way are not relevant. You will face the consequences of that work, but your job is to get that thing done. That's it. That's how you. If you really truly want some growth of the Hindu society to be good, you need to think like that. You can't think of like, oh, can I win the next election? Because you can clearly see there's a chance you can lose the next election. BJP was thinking like this. 2 3 years, they would think, 2 terms, they thought like, can I win the next election? Can I win the next election? In the third election, almost they lost the election. So now they're realizing, oh shit, I can lose the election. I got to do stuff. And now they're doing stuff.
And they are doing bad things rather than good things. What's your take on this?
It
Are they
doesn't
doing
matter.
good or bad?
The individual day-to-day things doesn't matter. The long-term vision I care about. And unfortunately, the long-term vision, some things they're doing very good. The economy-wise, they're doing very good, but other side they're not doing. They're not doing the social, like same thing. The Hindu social building is not being done. They've just abandoned that completely. Just building a Ram temple is not enough. It's not enough. It is
Yes.
not enough at all. Not enough.
Yeah. So this symbolic gesture versus substantive power. So why do you think substantive powers are not? Take example, temples should be at least temple money should be used only for people who donate. Is that a substantive thing which should be done? And If not
No,
done, why?
no, you people don't donate to God for the money to come back to them. First thing Hindus will understand this. When a person goes to a temple to donate, bhaktas go to donate, they donate because they're giving to God, giving to God's work in their perspective. To Bhagavan they're giving, it's a sacrifice.
Correct, correct.
Right? What is the
But
duty of
but
the people who run the temple? And what
hmm,
do the kings used to do? The kings used to say, the temple wealth is for me to do my dharma to society. His job was that. So the government is the same thing. They're the king. Your job is to take that wealth that is given to for dharma and to do good for society, Hindu society. So do good for it. So you start thinking, how will you propagate it? How will you do a good job in the Hindu society? Will you provide good resources for people in the area? Water, cleanliness. Is
yes,
a
yes.
temple pond?
Hold.
Is a temple pond a good
ho-
bath, a bathing ground, natural bath? Is it healthy? Is it clean? Those things. They engineers locked all the temple ponds. You notice they've locked all the temple ponds, the historical temple ponds. They've locked it everywhere, all over the country.
hmm, hmm.
Instead of making such a way that
And
it's
there are
clean.
no water bodies in the temples in the North India. So that's completely gone.
They don't. What is the point? Why is the water bodies even there? You know what the reason the water bodies are there in temples? For you to go and wash and then go into temple. The whole
To
point is for
clean
you to
yourself.
cleanse yourself.
Clean
Yes,
clean yourself.
yes. But we don't. There's no. That's what you want to bring the temple ecosystem back. Open up the water bodies. Bring that culture back in. Make it a part of the culture. You go cleanse yourself. Maybe you go shower and then go there, do the ritual dip. But you bring those things back. But no, they've locked everything off. Because why? They don't want to take the effort to teach people how to use a temple effectively. Because it takes effort. It's difficult. You've unlearned all these things, right? You've unlearned how to be clean in a temple. So it's too hard. Oh my God, it's so difficult. Oh my God, how difficult it is to build a Gurukul, man. I got to I've got to put up the teachers. I got to train them. Oh my God, so much work. Let me just go and
So
do a
let
prayer.
Anand, let me ask you one more question. Correct. So are Hindus politically aware enough to understand that do Hindus ask these questions, common Hindus, that a church or a mosque or any other minority institutions do utilize their resources for their own community? Correct? It doesn't go to other people. It is used 100% for their own communities. And our money is utilized to fund Hajj subsidy to send people to Mecca and Jerusalem.
It's not just
Is
that.
that some?
It's not just that. It's more than that. You go to a church. The church's
Hmm,
money is controlled completely by the head priest,
hmm,
the head pastor. No
hmm.
one else, not a single other person can control what the church money does. You know that? All over the world, this is
No.
a reality. Do you see any Christians going saying, "Oh my God, what is this casteism? Only this guy can decide what the money goes. I have no right to decide." Have you seen a Christian ever argue like this? Never. Full authority is given to the pastor. He runs the church like a freaking dictatorship. You know that? Not one parishioner will say whisper word, because why? What will the pastor say? You talk, question me, get out of my church. Literally, they'll throw you out, and the parishioners will help you throw the person out. Because why? They trust their church, their pastor. Their pastor is the authority in that place, authority of trust. What have we done? We've taken away the. Just think about it, right? What is a pujari's job? Not just to do abhishekam. His job is to
Hmm,
do everything for the welfare of the temple. It's a significant responsibility. The responsibility has been taken away from him. It's given to some random bureaucrat who couldn't care less.
Yeah, but isn't that the overall the greater Hindu society to fight for it or raise the issue at least, or they are not aware of it at all? What's
No,
happening?
because I'm telling you, no, because they're so disconnected from what a temple is. A temple is not just a place to go and do your prayer and say, "Oh God, give me something in return for my laddus and my flowers." Be honest about this. What Hindus look at temples as place to go and have a barter with your God.
Yeah, so if you can Anand, see the graphic, I have put it on the screen for the audience also for you to see. Correct. So this is Christian conversion sources in Germany send 2 billion every year to India, we should dedicate 5% monthly income for Hindu causes. So the statement set aside just to forget about this is happening, correct? So the Hindu society is not aware of this is happening, correct? This is a news to me and you in general, correct? Maybe some people know it, but most people don't know it, that what's happening. So, how do you think the Hindu society, as a common person, Hindu society needs to understand these concepts, how they are functioning, and what they need to do at the individual level? See, you are telling politicians are not do not want to take this up because they are least bothered about it, because their constituency who vote for them have not asked them to do this, so they will not do it. How the politics works in general.
Yes. So but my point is that um, I don't explain this. It's like, see, I do go to temples. I didn't used to go to temples
Hmm.
because I was like, this
Hmm.
place is a place where people are having negotiations with God. Give me this, give me that, give me this. And I felt very disheartened. I'm like, this is not what what the temple's aura gives me. The temple's aura gives me peace. It gives you for you to think, for you to reflect on life. That's what I see the temple as, in my perspective. Because again, I don't have belief in terms of like the religious faith, right? But I can see people have religious faith. But I'm saying your faith, your bhakti in God should not be about you doing a transaction with Him. Your bhakti should be one where you're doing for society, right? I mean, I always ask people I meet, what is your
Hmm.
dharma? What is the reason you have bhakti? Is it just because you want to go do a ritual, or is it because you want to do something for your society in general? Because there's more to its society than that, than just going to a temple and coming home, right? There's more to that. There's danam. Like my grandmother used to give food danam
Hmm.
every week. She used to give to a temple. She'll give. She'll what a little bit money she used to get from her pension. She'll do annadanam in temple till she died. We don't do that. The concept is not there anymore. Some people do it, but most people don't do it. You can do that. We can be people doing that. We can part of regular Hindu society. Like every week, the local temple people in the area donate to do annadana or some other dana, right?
So, okay.
That requires social activists. That doesn't an individual person cannot do it, or the individual person has to become a
Yeah.
social activist to do it. You know?
No, it cannot be done because if you see, correct, the church functions as a kind of a like like what's it, as an organization, as a corporate organization is who is doing this conversion
Yes.
work, correct, correct.
Not just
So
conversion.
now,
Conversion is secondary. So listen,
hmm,
the conversion is the part we're seeing in our thing. But you understand, they
hmm,
have already set up a system to run their churches. Like, for example, you may see a single church may look the pastor may be an individual, but he has
hmm,
contact with thousands of other pastors, and all of them have created a plan of action.
hmm,
They've created a plan of action together. Like, this is the place we will proselytize. You don't come here. You do somewhere else. And they take it as
hmm,
as a gospel that they will do it. No one can will say anything.
correct. So now, correct. I ask the same question to you.
Hmm.
So, do Hindus lack this awareness that our money is our money, and because right now we are in a situation where our money is utilized to actually use against us. Take the example of Vaishno Devi Medical College, correct? Where the money that medical college was built with money from money donated to Vaishno Devi, and where 90% seats were given to other faith people. Now, is that a disaster for Hindu society, and does it reflect the state of Hindu society as a coherent people, a coherent community to actually do things for their own good rather than
See,
looking at others?
there's a fundamental problem with the way we are structured for this kind of challenge, because
Hmm.
the temple is fixed. It will not move. It cannot a temple cannot be boycotted. Remember that a temple
Hmm.
can never be boycotted. Can never lose money,
Hmm.
because faith people have faith in Vaishno Devi. They will go to Vaishno Devi. They will donate. They will
Hmm.
pay for the ticket, blah blah. They will do it. So money will consistently keep flowing into Vaishnavi. So
Hmm.
Hindus cannot do any change that. Like for example, a church, right? If someone does this,
Hmm.
if the church is doing bad things, the
Hmm.
parishioners will leave. They will leave, and the church will fade. So
Hmm.
that's what's happening in the US right now. The number of churches in the US are dropping. Europe, same thing happened. Europe is devoid of churches because people just left. They're like, I can't tolerate this church anymore. I'm leaving. So they lost the money. The political power went away. Right? The church power
Hmm.
went away there. In India, you can't
Hmm.
do that. The temple is a static location. And bhakti is with
Hmm.
the temple, not with the organ, not with the pastor. The bhakti is not with the priest, chief priest. It's with the Bhagwan. The chief priest is just the service of the person who serves the Bhagwan, the dasa of the
Hmm.
Bhagwan, right? But your bhakti is for the Bhagwan, not for the priest. But in the other system, the Maulvi and the priest can have consequences if they don't do what they are supposed to do. Here it's not there. There's no concept. So what they have smartly realized is that communists and the other people are they're like, these places are static. Money will keep coming no matter what we do. No matter what we do, money will keep coming because bhakti is not going to change. People have bhakti in it. I can just
Hmm.
keep taking the money. This is what
Hmm.
happening in Vaishno Devi. They've captured Vaishno Devi literally. They captured the assets of the Bhagavan. And you can't. And Hindus can't liberate it just by not going there or not donating because
No, no,
it is.
I am not saying that. I am saying that just be politically and communally aware enough for Hindus to understand that if the other community can use their own money for their own good, why Hindus cannot are unable to do this?
Because the state has captured the stuff. See, there's a problem. No, you've created such a way the state can capture the static object, the static place. They captured it. So what can you do? Even if you're aware, what can you do? Can you unelect bureaucrats? You can't. They've
No,
captured the place.
that
State is
problem
only
needs
so.
to be solved by that problem need to be solved by the Hindu society, and politicians and everybody else is part of the society. They are not they're not dropped from Mars or Venus.
No, but that's not point. No, if you're 99% Hindu society, it's possible. Problem is,
Hmm.
they're so strategically people have located themselves in these places. There are certain
Hmm.
groups who have strategically put themselves in certain places of power, where even if you're
Hmm.
aware, you cannot change that location. You understand? Vaishno Devi, the way they've designed the system is like that. They've thought that you understand this is like 100 years ahead. They've thought of the system.
Hmm.
You look at all the cities, the center parts of the cities. Who has taken up center part of all the cities? The most valuable land. Who sits there? Every city. I noticed every single city in India. They're right in the center of every city. Most valuable land, thoroughfare. They own it. KR Market in Bangalore, Dharavi
Hmm.
in Bombay, what do you call it? Delhi, they center of the city. And all major cities, they have the center of the city. How do they get the center of the city? They're supposed to be the poorest people in the country, right? How do they have the center of the most
Hmm.
valuable land in the city?
Yes. So if that is the case, then correct, in that case, it is we have to be blamed for like not blame, but we have to accept that we are weak and we are not able to do planning. So we have to start
Yes,
doing this.
that is accepted. That you first start there. The problem is Hindu society could not care less about more fundamental, most important things. They care more about popcorn. Why did you put me 50% GST on my bloody caramelized popcorn? Why can't it be 10% GST? Nirmala Sitaraman, you took my money. Too much tax. You know what shit she got for a stupid bureaucratic error issue? It's not even her fault. It's a bloody bureaucrat did this. But she's blamed for it.
Yeah,
This is
but
what in
okay,
Hindu about.
I understand that part. Okay, that it's a bureaucratic thing. But do you think like the Congress is an extension of the Brown Sahib, correct? Raj, correct. So you had
Look, I told you
white
in the
Sahibs
beginning.
are ruling us. Hmm.
No, I told you this in the beginning. The Congress understands how evil is normal. The Congress
Hmm.
understands this perfectly well. The BJP is obsessed with thinking that people are good, they will come around. We will convince them. You cannot think like that. The Congress understands that there are some evil people. You have to ally with them. I'm sorry. They have power over them. We have. You can use them for power. They've always understood this because they were created by who? By Europeans. Europeans understand this very clearly. They understand how evil can be used, utilized very effectively.
Yes,
You can weaponize human behavior very easily.
absolutely. So, coming to the last part of our discussion, so do you think this disease called consensus? That you have to have consensus on every effing thing which exists. That we all have to agree, and then we will do something. Is this a disease which is there a lot of our organizations? That
Yes,
we will wait till eternity, and then we will reach a
yes,
consensus, and then we will do things.
yes. It is an addiction. I have no idea. I don't understand why. Why do you have democracy? You have democracy because I vote. Your voters vote for you to do your plan, not your opponent's plan. Why does someone vote for you? Because like your plan is better. Implement your plan, please. Not the opponent's plan. It's like me say going to a flower shop. No, not we're going to going to a battle, whatever, punching match, or sorry, a boxing match, and me not doing my moves, me doing the moves that will make my opponent win. Who goes into a battle like this? Which moron goes into a battle like this? Or me going to into boxing match saying, "Oh, I'll punch in such a way that my opponent gets the same amount of bruises as me." Who does any kind of thing in the world like this? No one in the world does things like this, bhai. No one. Barack Obama said we'll work together as Americans. He didn't follow that policy. He did what he wanted. Donald Trump said I'll be for all Americans. He didn't follow that policy. Biden said he'll do for all Americans. He didn't follow that policy. These are the most advanced democracies in the world. They don't follow this bloody policy. Why are we stuck with this bullshit policy? I don't understand. When I came to India and I found this the way politics is discussed, I was like pulling my hair out of my head. Like, do you understand democracy? Do you understand Aristotle's critique of democracy?
Yeah, yeah. We need to do a show on that. Let's discuss
People
Aristotle's
don't under, people don't
thoughts on
understand what
democracy.
democracy is. Democracy doesn't mean you all hang out together and do kumbaya and get a good solution. Democracy is the winners win. That's it. You just shut up later for the next 5 years. The opposition just shuts up for next 5 years. They have no say in the matter. That's democracy.
No, but isn't that correct? So if you do things at that level, when you lose power, then again all this will be reversed. So is that
But they already it's already been
unending
happening.
cycle?
It's already been happening. My point is you're trying to play a different game than the opposite your opponent. Your opponent only understands this realism. You look what happened in Karnataka. They came into Karnataka the next day they cancelled all the Savarkar education. They didn't even wait. The Congress didn't even wait. They didn't say, "Oh, BJP, we want to work with you. Let us find an equitable solution where we'll do some things that you like." No, they changed everything. Same thing in DMK came to power after AIDMK lost. They changed everything. They changed the curriculum. Next day they start changing the curriculum. The opposition understands this very clearly. It's only BJP doesn't even understand this clearly. I have no idea why.
No, but is that a framework which can be like long term thing that you implement policy after 5 years it again changes, after 5 years again changes? Is this something I'm
You,
saying in the
you're
practical terms?
No, don't assume you will lose. Fight in such a way that you will never lose. That's my point. The problem is you're still worried about losing. Why are you worried about losing? Focus on winning. If you're already thinking that you lose and you work like as you're going to lose, why will you do anything?
Okay, now actually to support your argument, correct? Support your argument
I'll give
right
you an example.
now.
It's like me going to
Correct.
going to going to an examination, thinking, "Oh,
Hmm.
I'm going to fail. Why study, man? I'm going to fail." No, why study? Why should I do extra 1 hour study? I'm going to fail. It's like that.
Yeah, so actually to support your argument, let me give an example. Correct. So for 6 decades, you had de facto rule by Brown Sahib. Okay, the same British bureaucracy, the same British policies, the same thing was as it is. Correct. And as you mentioned, correct, after independence, all the valuable land was owned by church, and British did it strategically, thinking this is how it should be. Now, the same thing cannot be thought by the so-called right-wing people, organizations, whatever you call them, and they are unable to see that we need to do things in a strategic manner, in a systematic manner, which is difficult to change. The same thing is happening now. The structure of constitution, the way it is created in constitution, you cannot change the fundamental part of constitution until you had 400 seats. So they have designed in such a way that whatever structures which were put in place by British for 200 years, they have remained as it is, because they were structured in a way that they cannot be removed easily. So is that thinking not there with people who are ruling, or they are incapable of doing things, or they don't understand how it works?
See, the fundamental problem is people have understood why we got independence. See, again, that's my point. Again, every time I ask people multiple times, what is the reason we got independence? Did we get independence just for so that we could put someone else in charge instead of white people? What do you think?
Yeah.
What is the reason we got independence?
See, from whatever I understand, that the British were bankrupt and they did not have money to run. And
No, no, no. I'm saying,
the
why do you think why the common Hindu or the common Indian, when they stood up to fight against the British, gave their lives, why do you think they fought for independence? What is the reason?
because the British were actually oppressing the people. And one more thing, there again, the narrative comes into play, correct? The narrative which was woven by the Bhadraloks of Bengal, primarily from the people like Subhash Chandra Bose, Rishi Aurobindo, and other revolutionaries, who had actually sown the seed, the narrative that we are oppressed, see this data, people are oppressing you. Then the common people came and followed the leadership. So again, the narrative plays a very important role. Common people were not revolting in mass numbers until they had the leadership to guide them.
No, but you would understand. A lot of Indians were so-called basically assisted the British because they were living very cushy lives. A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Indians. So my point is, why did the common Indian finally say enough is enough? Because, and now I'll come to the point. Why did they revolted? They revolted because it was not enough just to be having a good life under the British. You had to have some amount of autonomy, self-autonomy. You have to decide your principles, your way of life. You cannot just import the Western way of life and live that way of life. That is why
No,
we
but that
revolted.
is no. That will be there in the 5% of the elites, not on of the 80% of the common folk.
I'm sure even the common folk thought
People,
this. They don't want to. They don't want this white man to tell them how to live their lives. They want to live their lives the
no,
way they want to live
that
their lives.
no. That had see that had to be told by an brown skinned person that you are oppressed. You correct. You understand correct how revolutions, how movements work. The
I
eighty
don't
percent
think so.
people don't have any idea.
I don't think so. I think at the heart of every Indian is a self respect and wanting to have dignified life. I believe this,
Yes,
honestly.
yes. If that is the case,
What the
then
elite did is they tapped into this idea. They tapped into this idea of wanting self respect and wanting self dignity. They tapped into it. My opinion.
see, take an example. Correct. If you did not had the Bhadralok who built the narrative that British are bad, would you still have the kind of movement that you would have, only driven by common people?
Yes, I think they
Remove the
would have.
elites.
I think because historically had such revolts regularly. Yeah, it wouldn't have been big and wouldn't have been countrywide, but it would have kept happening at small levels. Non-stop it would have kept happening.
Yeah, but that would be correct, diminished by the British people themselves, and they were doing correct, because the
Yes.
greater narrative was built by the elite so that it percolated into the common masses. You
I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing with you there. But my point, my more fundamental point was, I'm talking about why I'm so particular about this idea of not understanding what comes with power. Because while the elites taught you that you have to push the British back, they didn't tell the population that you have to start building your own structures. They do not take from the person who's left. Instead of telling you have to have self-respect enough to build your own structures, they're like, no, no, now I will replace these British people. That's what the elites did. They said, okay, okay, now not enough that you are now I'll be part of this group that's controlling you. Which is where we stopped. We stopped growing at that point. The next step was let us work together to create a structure that we all can work under. That is not British.
let
You can
me
teach them.
give you a
You can teach them.
very let
Yeah.
let me give you a very good example. Correct. So if you see how the Israelis actually fight the terrorist groups across the West Asian region, correct, from Hezbollah to Hamas to Al Fateh to Islamic Jihad, correct. So they would eliminate the leadership step by step, and the common cadres would actually disintegrate. Now we see, because the top leadership, the middle leadership of Hezbollah was eliminated, Hezbollah is a diminished force. It's not a eliminated force, but a diminished force. So we Hindus have to realize that we are in a perpetual war. Okay? And until you make the sacrifice, you are not going to get what you want. The British eliminated the leadership which was there pre-independence and replaced that leadership with their own brown sahibs, and they continued the legacy of British Empire,
So, but we
and
accepted
Americans
those.
replaced it.
But we accepted those brown sahibs. That's my point. We still
No,
accept those
no,
brown sahibs. Problem.
they it will always happen because 80% of the common masses will only follow instructions. They will not build their own instructions. That's how the society works.
Yes,
The
but
elite
that's not
who
that's
make
my
or
point.
break.
That is my point. My point is the right elite will. You're right, absolutely right. The right elite will make or break society. And my point is
Hmm.
we need a better quality, better class of elite. I would even
do
call most
does
of the people. Yeah, sorry.
does
Yeah,
Hindu
sorry.
society right, yeah, does Hindu society right now has that kind of elites who can guide the Hindus in the right direction?
I think there are a lot of people. This generation, especially, I'm really impressed by the number of people who are coming up with good ideas, with interesting ideas about how to build society. And it's happening now. I'm telling you, I've observed in Indian politics, even not very much when I was younger, but after around 20 years old, I've been observing Indian politics. And the unique thing of today is that we have some unique, really good quality young leaders with clarity of vision, right? But the point is fundamentally, you have to first thing about democracy. People need to understand what democracy is first. That when you gain power, you implement everything that you need to implement. Do not worry about consensus because the other side is not going to worry about consensus. The Naxals they didn't go and ask the political leaders of the region in Bastar, oh, can we have consensus before they shot them to death, right? It's not going to happen. Your enemy is never going to have consensus with you. You got to deal with the situation that you have right now. You can give some amount of grace to people who are willing to step forward, but if they're not willing to step forward, you crush your opponent like melons.
Okay, okay, last point of our discussion, which is going to be very important and pertinent. Let me give you a bit of data point. Correct. So the minority vote, which is quite consolidated in many regions and many states, they vote for uh, Namajbadi party in one region. They vote for a Congress party in one region. They vote for another party in that region. Correct. So this political awareness of the minority vote, compare this with the Hindu vote. So the our voting pattern is a problem, or is it something which is okay? Nothing to do about it. What we are.
They have they
So
have no
correct.
they have no political
Mhm.
awareness. Let me give you some news.
Is
They have no
okay. Wait,
political
wait, wait,
awareness.
wait, 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 wait. Let me finish it. So now this voting pattern is a fundamental, one of the fundamental problems for which we see we are a eighth class citizens, as per Mr. Anand Raghunathan. For the same after effect is that we don't have temple freedom. We have an RTE Act which doesn't favor us, schools run by Hindus. Okay. So is political awareness one of the cornerstones of issues which needs to be fixed, and that fixing will improve the other issues which are plaguing us.
See, first of all, I don't agree with the Anand saying we are eighth class citizens. We're just heavily discriminating
Maybe.
people.
So
Class.
that eighth class is a kind of a symbolic representation of like
No,
discriminating
because
people.
again, that's the problem. The problem is the upper class in Hindu society doesn't have to face this discrimination.
Hmm.
They are enjoying the fruits of everything that is there in society. It is
Hmm.
the classes below the upper class of the highest class of Indian society that have suffered. It is the middle class, the lower middle class, the lower class. They suffer the indignity of what Hindu society is facing. The upper class enjoys. They get to get what best darshana of Tirupati when they feel like it.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you. Correct. I'll tell you. Correct. I there was a subordinate who worked under me, and he called me one day that my family knows a politician, and we got a VIP pass to go to Tirupati. So please give me urgent leave. Okay. So this is your common Hindu who thinks that going on a VIP pass to have the darshan of Balaji is something which is very pious. That's bhakti for you, for a common Hindu, and we are
But
talking
but
about
it's not,
temple freedoms.
but not common Hindu. This is the privileged Hindu. You go if
No, no,
you. I'm telling you.
no.
Wait, wait, hold on.
That's a
When I was
common Hindu. Common
when I
Hindu
was in
means
the
like, hmm,
in the 90s when I used to when I've been to Tirupati like 5 6 times. First
hmm,
2 3 times I climbed the entire 7 hills. We walked.
hmm, 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 hmm,
No straight and no special darshana. We went to the
hmm,
normal
hmm,
darshana, full stand in
hmm,
that line for 1 hour. My
hmm,
point is, at that point of time, that time in 90s, you when you
hmm,
traveled up those stairs, you will see hundreds of
hmm,
thousands of Hindus walking
hmm,
with gigantic bags of stuff on their back and shouting what Govinda, 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 Govinda. The whole distance they'll be saying. Not 1 second. People will be walking on their knees and climbing that distance. 9 to 7 hills they'll be they'll be going. That is the common Hindu. This group that gets to go for special darshana are the elite Hindu who want special favors with God.
hmm,
When what is the idea of dharma? You are Bhagwan is everywhere. You are not special. You're all the same to Bhagwan. This special class doesn't care about this eighth class status of society. That's why they don't care to put their voice ahead and saying how dare the rest of our Hindu society have this indignity. That is the problem. That is the challenge. You have this challenge is there. That's why I say, there's this group of people who have access to political power, but they don't care. Many of them just larp on the idea that, oh, I'm fighting for Hindus, but have they done anything substantive? I would ask fundamentally, what if they give them a report card? They have political power. They have years of politicians. What have they done change fundamentally on the ground for any Hindu? Any of them with years of politicians? Nothing. I don't mention one person. I'm subscribed to them, but it's been like almost like 8 years now. I've been paying I've been providing money, but I've not seen one single substantive thing they've done for Hindu society as such. You know, for politics they've done a lot, but for Hindu society they've not done anything. They have immense political power. Anand Ranganathan has immense political power right now. He says, I'm not influential, but yes, he's influential enough to be invited on multiple talks in multiple stages in multiple places. While he does speak about it, where is the fundamental lobbying? Where is the lobbying? Saying
no,
this particular politician, do this in this place, do that in that place. The other side is not like
yeah.
that. The other
So
side will no, the other side will fight. The other side, the people of influence will go and lobby. They say, if you don't do this, I will not come to your show. I will not come to your event. I'll not patronize your thing. They will say these things very explicitly. But we don't put our money where our mouth is.
Yeah, is this a unique Hindu problem? Do you think?
It's a unique Hindi problem. It's a unique Hindu problem
Why? Why it's a unique Hindu problem?
because we're not willing to put our money where our mouth is. We talk a lot, we don't
No,
do
but
anything.
no, no, no. But we were not the same, correct? So you had Gopal Mukherjee, correct? Put his money where his weapon was.
But he was not upper. He was not upper class Hindu. He was a common Hindu. Common Hindus do these things. I'm talking about upper class Hindus. I'm talking about people with political power, with political will, with political access. They don't
No, no.
bother. They don't care.
Okay. Understand. So see, correct.
That's
So
the irony.
so in pre-independence era, you had Tilak, you had Subhash Chandra Bose, you had in a lot of Bengali revolutionaries. You also had revolutionaries in uh, Madras, Chennai presidency or Madras presidency, where they were all elites. Like they were all like well-educated people. Rishi Aurobindo was educated in London. So where we have lost, where the Hindu elite have lost their way, because I'm quoting you example, okay? Subhash Chandra Bose, the people, Mr. Mr. Munje was the very rich person, and Mr. Munje was the person who had adopted Baliram Hedgewar, the founder of RSS. Without him being adopted by Mr. Munje, we would not have sung. So it was the elites who were doing a lot of good leadership for the uh, society in general, Hindus in particular, in pre-independence era. What happened in post-independence era?
I'm telling you, no, because they were not politicians. The minute
No, they were
became politicians,
politicians.
no, they were not. They were made thought leaders maybe, but they're not politicians. The minute they became politicians, they changed their image.
Bal Gangadhar Tilak was a politician. He was a Congress politician.
Like, one or two. Like
Tilak
I'm
was
saying,
a Tilak was a political mind. Like, give me example.
I'm saying you may, and that's then. I'm talking now.
You
Let me
know,
take Tamil Nadu for example.
yeah,
No,
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 no. What
I'll
I'm saying that what has changed? What has changed that the society has become like this? The way the elites have behaved now, the way they are behaving, and how they are behaving pre-independence.
because he didn't think 20 years ahead of time. I will give you an example in Tamil Nadu, right?
Hmm, hmm,
The Tamil Nadu Congress was one of the most Hindutvavadi congresses in the country.
hmm.
They fought for Hindu Dharma strongly. But they're the same group that created EVR. They created EVR. They created that psychopath. He used to come to Congress events. He used to come to Congress politicians' houses, begging them for access, for political access. They gave it to him. And what did he do? He turned around and attacking Hindu society. You'd understand. The same is happening now. Chandrasekhar Ravan is not serving Dalit rights. He's just serving his own rights, his own benefit. He's benefiting himself. What school, hospital, anything is built for the Dalit community? Nothing. What has he done? Has he created a situation where he could educate students to get PhDs, get scholarships? Kuch bhi kiya hai. But why? It serves them. It's like what happened to Bindranwale. Bindranwale is created by the so-called the Congress elite. They thought they were doing the right thing at that time, but we'll see what happened later. Same thing happening right now. They're creating these people. They're creating the Ravan. They're creating the what Mandal. What Mandal is that? The guy they just adopted that guy.
Jogan Mandal.
Not
Jogan
Jagan Mandal.
Mandal.
The recent one. Now only they recently
Acha,
confirmed
Dilip Mandal.
Philip Mandal. They adopted it. But why? Because they want like, oh, we will capture this vote. But what are you sacrificing in return? Are you doing anything for the Hindu Dalit community? Are you improving their self-confidence? No, you're not. You're letting this guy infect they're destroying their self-confidence. Saying, no, you'll always be treated like this by everyone. Everyone will treat you badly. No, you want to build self-confidence. They build your institutions. Get build your own your schools, your colleges. So you're proud of creation or something. That they don't do. They want to make it's a political framing. Like this is my enemy. This enemy is fighting the enemy, and then we are winning elections. So that's the point. The problem is that the elite creates the enemy that will affect them 10, 20 years down the line. That is the problem. It's because you think only for today. You don't think for the 20 years down the line. Look at Ambedkar. Ambedkar was a smart guy, but he didn't think what will happen with the reservation policy. He thought he will be giving respect. He'll give such confidence to his people. They'll go through the reservation system. They'll come out educated. Their educated people will get their people out of that quagmire of caste and get them with self confidence. They'll be able to build their own community. But did it happen? It didn't happen. It only deteriorated more and more. While a lot of people did get educated well, but did they go forward and pay it forward? Like they say, pay it forward. Ambedkar gave me the opportunity to do well. I should pay it forward and give someone else the opportunity to do well. No, my subcaste will only do well. Only my subcaste will
No,
do
no,
well. I don't care about
not
other groups.
not even subcaste. Like it is the family which needs to enjoy all the fruits till eternity. Others can take a dip in the Ganga
And they
whenever
took
they want.
advantage of feudal system. They took advantage of the same feudal system that the zamindars used to do. So what did the zamindars used to do? I am your godfather. You come and beg at my feet. I will throw some scraps at you. You will say, thank you, Bab. Thank you, Bab. Thank you for the scraps. I will be your forever servant. So they do the same thing in your community. Like, oh, I also will be the head honcho. You come and beg me for scraps from, because I'm your leader. You come and beg at my feet. I will throw some scraps at you. You will be my political base. What are they doing? They're exactly doing that. Same thing. All this Lalu Prasad, what is he doing? He's captured the entire Yadav base by this way thing only, no? I am your Karta Dharta. You come and bow at my feet. But he doesn't do anything substantive for them. He gives them access in politics, but that's temporary because the next government will come in, they'll get thrown out of their positions. How are they evolving beyond that caste identity or that caste conflict? They're not.
Absolutely. So we're going to continue these conversations. We're going to talk a lot about other issues which plague. But for people who are watching us and people who want some book recommendations, this is the book. This is a very not very popular book.
It's called
India,
India.
Hindus, and Narendra Modi. So this is a look at Sri Narendra Modi's extraordinary achievements, but also where he may have faltered. So this is a kind of analysis of a practicing Hindu, okay, who has built a museum in Pune. So you can search him. This book, people who are like thinking what went wrong, okay, why Narendra Modi's government is doing all these things which are looks very unfamiliar with their noble intentions. So politics is not a very easy game. It's not an
It's
easy
not.
thing to do. So to understand a little bit more about politics of BJP, read read this book, and you might have a bit of answers, not the whole answer, but part of the answer, what's going on and what has good has happened, what's bad has happened. From our platform, we are not going to promote anybody. We are going to only promote dharma and what is good for Hindus. So
Yeah.
a balanced understanding of politics is very important. Political awareness is very important for us Hindus to rectify a lot of issues, a lot of bad things which us with us, and we have to improve them. We have to negate the bad things, focus on the good things, and make a strategic choice today, starting with political awareness, starting with the way you vote. Your vote is the most common denominator which you can use to actually impact your life, your current position, your future position, and the future generations who are going to live there. So vote very carefully, mindfully, strategically, so that the greater Hindu society is in a good place rather than being very reactive about what's happening today. So thank you everybody, and we are going to continue this conversation. So we're going to cover a bit of more topics, and we're also going to open up this debate to other people as well in coming weeks. So see you. Thank you, Anand. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you.
Vande Mataram.
Jai Shri Ram. Vande Mataram.